Namaste, Mani. Welcome to the Iowa channel, Astro in with Abhi, Oneness in Astrology and Spirituality, bringing in awareness by Abhi. Namaste, Jai Shri Ram.
Namaste. Namaste, Abhi. Thank you for having me on your podcast again.
It's always a pleasure.
Mhm. Yeah, so I have another question. And it's a build up on our previous discussion on the moon and its phases. So I want to know and what type of rituals or what should one observe um, or actions that they should take when it is a full moon or when it's a new moon
Okay.
so that we can best benefit from those energies at the time.
Okay. I've had this question so many times. Every single time I've done a live on TikTok on a new moon or a full moon, I get a ton of messages on WhatsApp, even on the live.
Mm, mm,
What can I perform? Abhi, is it good to do this? Is it good to do that? Look, firstly, to answer such a question, it's important for me to outline what a moon is, what the moon governs. So can we stick to this podcast at the topic of what does the moon govern? Then we can go on
Yes.
to a separate podcast as to how to harness the full moon's energy and how to harness the new moon's energy. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So
We can split
l-
it into two parts.
let's try and understand what the moon governs. What are the dharma? What is the dharma of the moon? What is the duty of the moon? So the moon, we all know the moon controls the water content within our bodies. It controls the water on Earth's plane itself. Moon governs Mondays, if you didn't know. Moon governs your moods. Moon governs the woman's cycles. Moon governs the subconscious mind. So while the sun governs the conscious mind during the day, the moon governs the subconscious mind at night. Just like the moon phases have cycles, so does the subconscious mind, having mood swings. So your subconscious mind controls 90% of your daily thoughts and actions from here. So the new moon is the subconscious mind, which is closed. However, the full moon is where the subconscious mind is more accessible. This is the best time to like reprogram or dissolve the mind, breaking old habits. So the moon itself is the storehouse. I would like to describe it as the feminine, whilst the sun being the masculine, the moon being the feminine,
Mm-hmm.
the storehouse of every thought, word, and action. And the planets execute helps to execute this. I'd like to describe it like
Mm.
that. Whilst the moon being the Shakti, the force, the sun being the source, the moon being the force
Mm.
behind it all. So with the different moon phases, we can then establish the different forces at play. Is it
Okay.
making sense so far?
Yes, it is. It is making sense.
Okay, so moon holistically governs our emotions. Depending on how stimulated our third eye is, we then will deal with our emotions based on how stimulated the third eye is. If the third eye is stimulated, if a person is practicing some kind of yoga or bhakti yoga, some kind of yoga, then such a person is beyond the emotions, depending how what frequency he or she is in. Then
Mm.
such a period of time, such a person would look forward towards a full moon, because this is the best time for him
Mm.
or her to get into some kind of sadhana, meditative practices. Because during this time, the water level rises. And when the water level rises, the water content in the body rises. So it's very easy to transcend. It's very easy to it's much more easier to transcend or reach high states of consciousness during a full moon. Therefore, you find a lot of religious institutions or institutions that are more. I think this will come more from the Hindu tribe, Tamilian tribe. I'm not sure of the others, but you'll find them doing a lot of rituals, a lot of havans during this time. Because the ability to transcend to higher dimensions is much more simpler. So you can gain access to these, let's call them platforms, the dimensions of existence. So the moon is very important to pay attention to understand its nature. Whilst it gives different forces of energy, it's giving a force because it is a force. And based on how stimulated your third eye is, you will perceive this force and you will create based on the stimulation of your third eye, based on your frequency. So if you are vibrating in a very high frequency, you will make something good out of it. If you are vibrating in a very low dimension of existence, then generally you would find yourself very anxious, unable to sleep, stressed out. Things become.
Would you say it's amplified?
It's amplified, yeah.
Yes,
Definitely amplified. The misery is amplified, but in a high state of consciousness, the beauty is amplified. That's the best way to do it. So what is amplified? Your state of consciousness. What? Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does make sense.
All right. Thank you, Mani. Thank you, dear listeners. Thank you for joining in the channel. We shall speak soon. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Bye, Abhi.
Bye.